Hi, this is Mrs. Chang helping you with your Toronto Natural Disasters Contingency Project. This step is teaching you how to do research. We're going to use this section about how to use the virtual library from TDSB. So once I've logged into the TDSB site with the password that was given to you in class, you can go to the Quick Finds button. And there's a lot of great options, but one of the ones we recommend is Britannica Encyclopedia. Once you click into Britannica, you can go to middle school and you search up the type of disaster. So in this case, I'm doing earthquakes. And I'm not looking for something specific right now. I'm not going to do Japanese earthquake or San Francisco. I just want some general information. So I'm going to click on earthquakes. And a good thing to think about is which part of the project are you researching for at this moment. So right now I'm really interested in knowing about how do earthquakes form. I mean, I remember some things in class that was talked about, and that will help me, but I need some additional research to help me remember. So the nice thing about Britannica is it has an option for you to listen to what's being said. So if you need to hear it read out loud, it'll read it to you before you do your research. And it has a citation device that we're going to use at the end. So I have done a preview of this website before this video, and one of the things I did was quickly check the headings. So it has causes, effects, occurrence, how often does it occur, the role of plate tectonics. So by reading the headings, it gives me an idea if the site is something worth my time. And it looked like it was helpful because I am looking for the causes or why an earthquake forms. So I'm going to jump to this section here. And it says, most of the worst earthquakes are associated with changes in the shape of Earth's outermost shell, particularly the crust. These so-called tectonic earthquakes are generated by the rapid release of strain energy that is stored within the rocks of the crust, which on continents is about 22 miles thick. So far that made no sense to me. I was like, wow, this is not an easy article. But I'm not going to give up yet. I'm going to read a little bit further. A small proportion of earthquakes are associated with human activity. Dynamite or atomic explosions, for example, can sometimes cause mild quakes. The injection of liquid waste deep into the ground and the pressures resulting from holding vast amounts of water in reservoirs behind large dams can also trigger minor earthquakes. So that's kind of interesting. Humans can cause earthquakes. I maybe didn't know that. So I'm going to copy this information. Now the other thing that we should have open is our template for taking notes. So from the assignment, Google Classrooms, you'll see that you have a document that looks like this. And this is where you're going to record all your notes. So the first thing I do is I want to save this template as something that is the name of the source I'm using. So in this case, I'm going to call it eNote Making for Britannica. That way I know that all the information from this particular document is from Britannica. And I'm going to write the name here, Britannica. Now because we got this site from the Toronto District School Board library site, and I know that there's a citation key, I'm not going to fill out all this information right now. Instead, I'm just going to start to copy and paste the information I think is important. So I'm putting it on this side, because this side of the template lets me know that this information is not in my own words, and it needs to be put into my own words in order for it not to be considered plagiarism. Now, once I've done that, I can go back to the website, and I'm going to keep reading. The strongest and most destructive quakes are associated with ruptures of crust, which are known as faults. Although faults are present in most regions of the world, earthquakes are not associated with all of them. Pressure from within Earth strains the tectonic plates that make up the crust. The strain builds up suddenly, the plates move along faults, thereby releasing energy. So I like that idea. This here, pressures strain the tectonic plates, and plates move. In fact, I like this whole paragraph. It has some good information. So I'm going to take this paragraph and put it into my document here. Oops. Okay, excellent. Now, Once I do that, if that's the information I want to take from that section, the next step is I need to start to put it into my own words. So I need to go back and reread it carefully. Dynamite or atomic explosions, for example, can sometimes cause mild quakes. So if I want to put this in my own words, I could say earthquakes are sometimes caused by human activity, such as using dynamite or other explosions. Okay. I'm not really interested in talking about the injection of liquid waste, so I'm going to delete that part. I actually decide I don't really need that. Now, on this part here, it says the strongest and most destructive earthquakes are associated with ruptures of crust known as faults. Although faults are present in most regions of the world, earthquakes are not associated with all of them. Pressure from within Earth strained the tectonic plates that make up the crust. So one thing I do want to tell readers is that the Earth's crust is made up of tectonic plates. Okay. The strain builds until suddenly the plates move along faults, thereby releasing energy. So from class, I remembered that the plates move away from one another or toward each other. When plates move toward one another, pressure can build and eventually it needs to be released. Okay, so there I've taken some of this information. The plates slide and slip in opposite directions, shaking the ground above. The masses may move up and down, sideways or vertically. Move away from one another or toward one another. Oops, I forgot sideways, or even sideways. When plates move toward one another, pressure can build and eventually it needs to be built up and eventually it needs to be released. So this is just some ideas about what I'm thinking. And it reminds me of class too. I remember from class if the plates are moving towards each other, that builds up the pressure and it can cause the energy to be released. I also like this part here that surface displacement of the ground may vary from a few inches to several feet to even many meters. The word displacement is hard for me, so one cool thing about the word is that if you go up here to review, you can use the thesaurus at any time in the article to find out what something means in simpler language. It also will help you put it into your own words. So I can say instead of displacement that when energy releases, it can cause the ground to move, which means displacement. Several. Now I could use inches or feet. I'm going to choose to use centimeters to even many meters because we're in Canada. Yeah, that's it. Now the last word I haven't used here is fault lines. So if I understand what faults are from class, I can certainly put that in. The Earth's crust is made up of tectonic plates, and that would be faults. Fault lines are ruptures of the crust. Now the word ruptures is stolen from here, so I'm going to look that up again because I don't know what ruptures really means. It means breaks, splits, divisions. Oh, so fault lines are kind of divisions of the Earth's crust. What? Plate boundaries. We'll just leave it at that. So this is the information I have got from this article. Now, of course, I could do more research from this article. Oops. I could do more research from this article. We have shock waves here. I could look at seismic waves, the effects. So here's another good one, for example, the effects of earthquakes. If I looked at this, it talked about tsunamis, and I remember learning about how tsunamis are a danger after an earthquake. So I could take this information, copy it, and put it down here and continue doing research. The point is, so control paste, the point is it's up to you how much information you need from a particular site. Maybe you're only taking a few sentences, maybe you're taking several paragraphs, but always ask yourself, what is the question I'm trying to answer? And once you think you have enough information, you can stop and try the next step, which we'll show you in the next video. Thanks for watching.